It's 11 o'clock and we start tonight on 13 News at 11 with breaking news out of New York City. That's where tonight 5 people are dead, including a police officer at a shooting at a Manhattan office building. Tonight, police are reporting that the shooter, who now has been identified as 27-year-old from Vegas, is also dead after taking his own life. Investigators say the building where that shooting occurred houses some of the country's top financial firms and the NFL, the National Football League. Right now, the FBI is assisting with the investigation in New York City. This is an active scene at this hour, and we'll bring you breaking updates as they come in, both on air and online. And here in Indianapolis, looking ahead, we are in for another dangerously hot day tomorrow, with the heat index likely topping 100 degrees. And that heat advisory for central Indiana is going to stick around through tomorrow night. Angela's here breaking down the impact of this extreme heat forecast now for your Tuesday.
Extreme heat is right. We are under the heat advisory, a weather impact alert day for tomorrow because of high temperatures, 90 to 95, but feeling like 100 to 110. Continue to take precautions from the heat, and we are not alone. The eastern half of the country dealing with this dangerous heat, also dealing with some dangerous storms rolling through parts of Minnesota into the northwestern sections of Iowa. We'll keep an eye on that cluster of storms overnight. Can't completely rule out a pop-up for us, although radar is quiet now. Our storm chances really won't increase until later in the week. Temperatures right now at 11 o'clock in the upper 70s and low 80s. Little relief overnight, mid 70s for lows. We'll spend tomorrow afternoon in the 90s, hot and humid and feeling like the triple digits.
Thank you, Angela. And you can track the dangerous temperatures tomorrow using the Live Doppler 13 weather app. It also gives you access to our updated weather blog. It is a free download and you can find it in your phone's app store. New at 11, solving the homeless crisis in Indianapolis is a topic that certainly does divide city leaders. Is the solution more housing? Is it more services? Or is it now time to go back to the drawing board and start all over? Alex Almanza talked with community leaders who each have a different take, and he joins us now live in studio. Alex.
And the president of the Concerned Clergy says there's a, quote, recurring failure of leadership after the city said they're shutting down the Fountain Square homeless encampment, though not everyone agrees with a disagreement. Reverend David Green says the city is confusing movement with progress.
All we're doing is moving the pain from one part to another place.
The city plans to close the homeless encampment along Leonard Street on August 11th. They say outreach teams, including Streets to Home Indy, will offer temporary and permanent housing options to those living there. But Green, who sits on that very housing program, says that the city should have waited to shut down the camp.
This is just going to force them to say, now I got to go. They're concerned about where am I going to stay at next.
Neighbors say they've dealt with enough, from rocks thrown at homes to people being chased with sticks. In a statement to 13 News, the Office of Public Health and Safety addresses those concerns, saying the encampment poses a threat to, quote, both neighborhood residents and the unhoused community.
Indianapolis is a great place. We just need to think outside the box and just do it.
Conway disagrees with Green's Housing First approach. Instead, she's calling on the city to establish a centralized, sanctioned camp where people can set up their tents legally with city oversight and access to services. She's launched a petition saying it's a temporary fix that's worked elsewhere.
It's needed to give people dignity, a safe place to be, and a central location so that anybody who wants to minister to these individuals can go there and do it.
While one camp's closing, the larger problem isn't. Now, I talk more with Debbie and Reverend David in my more extensive story, which you can find soon on WTHR.com. I talked with them about some of the barriers that these approaches face, all in the midst of President Trump's recent executive order aimed at removing people from the streets, either by committing them for mental health or drug treatment. Ann?
Thank you. We looked into the numbers. Here's what we found. The number of unhoused Hoosiers is on the rise in Indianapolis. The Coalition for Homelessness Intervention and Prevention reported a 7% increase this year compared to last after their annual point-in-time count. They found more than 1,800 people are living on the streets in shelters or transitional housing. More than 400 of those people reported experiencing chronic homelessness, a 24% increase from last year. In their report, CHIP attributes the rising rates to a systematic housing issue. That includes things like a limited housing inventory and rising housing costs. Tonight, we're working to find out if IMPD has any suspects or made any arrests after a mass shooting on the Far East Side of Indianapolis. Police now say it all started with a disturbance between people in a car and a person outside. 5 people were shot, all of them younger than 19. The youngest, just 10 years old.
And it was just upsetting because my grandkids, they're always out here playing, and it's like, now I can't let them come outside and play because of all this.
This is the second mass shooting we've seen here in Indianapolis during July. During the 4th of July holiday, 2 teens were killed, 5 others injured after a shooting downtown. In wake of this youth gun violence, we're seeing growing efforts to keep kids from picking up guns altogether. 18-year-old Messiah Benton is one of the mentors with Young Men, Inc. He says his mission is a personal one after he lost a friend to gun violence when he was just 13.
Taking action doesn't start by holding a gun. Taking action starts by holding yourself accountable. Other than holding yourself accountable, sometimes it just takes you to realize your environment and not be a product of your environment.
So far this year, IMPD says they've identified 38 juveniles involved in non-deadly shootings. Tonight, court documents reveal an argument over a mailbox is what led to a shooting on the Near East Side, sending 2 brothers to the hospital. The shooting happened last Tuesday along Randolph near Southeastern and State Avenues. Police say that Paul Turner admitted to shooting the 2 brothers at the scene. A witness told police one of the brothers told Turner to stop messing with the mailbox they shared, and the 2 then got into an argument when Turner allegedly pulled out a gun and shot them. Turner is now charged with aggravated battery. New tonight, a man was just sentenced to 60 years in prison for his role in the kidnapping and murder of Corbin Rogers. Deshaun Bigby Cummings was the 5th and the final defendant that was sentenced in this case. Police say the 5 kidnapped Rogers and threatened his family before killing him in a vacant house back in 2022. They're now sentenced to a combined 273 years in prison for the crime. Here's a look at the day's other top stories. The man accused of stalking Caitlin Clark was just sentenced to a 1.5 years in prison. 55-year-old Michael Lewis pleaded guilty to stalking and harassment charges after sending threats and sexually explicit images to Clark. He was also ordered to avoid all contact with the Fever star and stay away from any Pacers or Fever games and events. Indiana State Police are now investigating a police shooting in Marion that ended with the suspect getting away. Investigators say that a Marion officer saw a passenger in a white SUV shooting at a pedestrian on Sunday morning. That's when the officer shot at the suspect, who got away. Indiana State Police now handling the investigation while the officer involved is on administrative duty. An Arlington mother now faces neglect charges after her 7-year-old son died in a house fire. Police say that Kirsten Bowers was seen on surveillance video leaving the home during the suspected time of the fire, with 4 kids still inside the house. Now, 3 of the kids were able to get out. 7-year-old David Bowers Jr., however, died in the fire. One person is in the hospital tonight after a car crashed into a Starbucks in Lebanon. The driver told investigators there was some sort of mechanical issue that caused the crash. One person inside that store was hurt and went to the hospital. The SUV driver wasn't injured. Ascension St. Vincent is now one step closer to opening a new facility on Indy's north side. The new Lucas Family Brain and Spine Hospital features 38 ICU-capable rooms, all dedicated to advanced brain and spinal care. Construction started back in 2022. It's expected to open later this year. Remember, you can find all the day's latest local headlines anytime on WTHR.com, the 13 News app, and over on WTHR Plus. And on this Monday night tonight, 83 members of the Indiana Task Force 1 are back home with their families. They spent almost 3 weeks in Texas assisting with the deadly flooding response there. Now they're sharing their stories, their experiences from the field. The team says they spent long days in the heat and the humidity, battling treacherous terrain in their search efforts. They were stationed in Kerr County, just downstream from Camp Mystic, where more than 24 campers and counselors were killed.
Everybody knows has seen the news with the Camp Mystic tragedy and all the kids involved in that. You know, we have to mentally get in the right place to go in and do a lot of that work.
During their days in Texas, Task Force 1 crews were assigned to different areas to search for survivors and recover those who died. In an effort to bring closure to the families, that was the point of their mission. Now they're back home with their loved ones for a brief rest before getting back to work.
Be able to get back with your loved ones, spend a little time with them. We give them a couple days to kind of get back in the groove of things before they have to report back to work. So it's very encouraging to see everybody show up.
The team deployed July 8th, spending 20 days on the job in Texas.